Okay guys, just before we begin, you might want to grab a couple of blocks or a pillow or a towel or a cushion if you've got dodgy knees or if you struggle to touch the floor. When you're ready, let's get started, and we'll start off with a little bit of centering before we begin. So come to a seated position and try not to slouch, try to lengthen the spine, try to relax the shoulders down. Maybe close the eyes or almost close your eyes. With your mouth closed, start to breathe in and out with your nose. Try not to control your breathing in any way. Just breathe naturally and notice what your natural baseline is, the pace and the depth of your breath. Now if you feel like your breathing is short and shallow, intentionally start to deepen your breath. Breathe in through your nose, pull the breath down into the belly, drawing the breath up into the upper chest. A slight pause at the top of the inhale, then a slow, soft exhale. Start to make your inhales and exhales longer, deeper, fuller, but also try and keep them soft, controlled. Start by loosening off the neck. When you're ready, bring your chin down towards your chest. And then look up. Chin to your chest. And then look up. And then chin down to the chest. And look up. One more. Chin towards the chest, look down. And then look up. Look to your left. Look to your right. Look to your left. Look to your right. Look to your left. And look to your right. One more, look to the left. Take your right ear over to your right shoulder. And your left ear over to your left shoulder. And over to the right. Over to the left. One more over to the right. And over to the left. Roll your chin down towards your chest. And then roll your head over towards your right shoulder. And then roll the head around the back. Back over to the left. So we're doing head rolls. Just for like 3. Rolling around, going at your own pace. 2. And 1, and then circle the head in the opposite direction. 3, 2, and 1. And then look forwards. Circle your arms up and above your head. Draw your lower belly in and up. Lift your lower back up. And then twist to your right. Bring your left hand to your right knee. Slide your right fingers behind your hips. As you inhale, you want to sit up tall, relax the shoulders, and on the exhale, draw your belly in and twist your ribs to the right. Look over your right shoulder. Slow, deep inhale into the belly. Soft exhale. Come back to the center, sweep the arms up above your head. And then exhale, twist to your left. Press down into the sit bones, rebound up through the crown of the head. Keep the shoulders down away from the ears. Twist your ribs to the left. On your next inhale, circle the arms up and above your head. As you exhale, coming into your forward fold, bring your hands down and walk them out in front. If you're feeling tight in the hips or the lower back, maybe bring a block. And rest your head onto a block. Or your forearms. A couple more breaths. Just avoiding any pain in the knees. If there's any pain in the knees, you just need to back off a little. Start to walk your hands back in. Check your legs out, see which one's in front or on top, and then stretch your legs out in front. Give the back of your knees a little tap. And then we'll switch them over, bring the opposite leg in front. We'll do some side stretches. Bring your fingers down by your side, or maybe bring your hands onto blocks. And on your next inhale, reach your right arm up. Press your right sit bone into the mat. Reach as high up as you can through your right fingers, and on an exhale, pull over towards the left. Keeping the right sit bone down. Maybe start to turn your ribs to the right, gaze up, as long as it's not painful with the neck. Any strain on the neck, either look forwards or down. And then we'll switch sides. Bring your right fingers down to your mat or to your block. And then exhale, scoop it over to the right. Breathe into your belly for 3, 2, 1. One more. Bring your left fingers or your palm down, reach your right arm up. Go at your own pace and your own depth. We're going to stay here a little bit longer. If you want to get deeper, drop down onto the elbow and the forearm, but make sure that you keep your right sit bone grounded. And then breathing diaphragmatically into your belly for 3, 2, 1. And then switch sides. Again, just going at your own pace. If I'm going too fast, you slow it down. If you want to get deeper, start to lower the forearm or the elbow. Keep the left sit bone grounded and keep the breath going into the belly. Nice and deep, full and soft. 3, 2, 1. On your next inhale, reach the arms up, draw your lower belly in and up, lift the lower back up, create that length. Then as you exhale, fall forwards. Either keeping the chest up, or if the knees and the hips and the lower back will allow it, come a little bit deeper into your forward fold. Take it to your own depth. Couple of breaths. Try to relax the shoulders, the back of the neck. Try to soften the hips and the thighs, even the feet. Start to walk your hands in. Stretch your legs out in front. And give the knees a bit of a tap. And then when you're ready, cross your legs or swing your legs around the back. Meet me in tabletop position. Any pain on the knees, you might want to slide your towel or your cushion underneath your knee. Okay, let's do Anahatasana. Keep your hips directly above your knees and then start to walk your hands towards the top of your mat. If you're feeling tight, you have to bring your head down onto a block and take your hands wider than your shoulders. If not, bring your forehead down. If you're a little bit more open in the shoulders and the chest, you might prefer to bring your chin down. And the idea is to create a long line of extension down the spine. So if you feel like you can pull your hips back a little bit more whilst reaching further forwards through the fingers, this is going to create a deeper line down the spine, and it's also going to extend the stretch down the side of the arms, creating more length. So 3, 2, 1. Next position is Sphinx. Start to slide down onto your belly. If you're feeling tight in the lower back, take the feet towards the edges of the mat. Otherwise, toes together, heels together. And then check the elbows out, bring them directly below your shoulders. Unless you're feeling tight in your lower back, then take your hands a little bit further out in front. We don't want the ears and the shoulders to come together. We want to create length out the front of the body. So press down into the elbows, press your shoulders down, and then lift the crown of your head up. No creases in the back of the neck. You want the chin parallel with your mat. Eyes closed or almost closed. And take the awareness down into the belly. Notice what you're doing with your belly. Try to relax your abdominal muscles, maybe soften your glutes a little bit. Breathe into your belly. If you want to deepen the stretch, you could press firmly into your hands and lift the elbows up into seal. Try to avoid the shoulders coming up to the ears. Keep the shoulders down, away from the ears. Keep the back of the neck long. And keep the abdominals soft and the glutes relaxed. Steady breathing into the belly. Just for 3, 2, 1. And when you're ready, bring the elbows down. Lie back down, bring your chin down. Slide your hands back below the elbows and then squeeze your triceps in. We'll sit back into child's pose with your knees wide and your big toes together. So take the knees towards the edges of the mat, bring the big toes together, sit your hips back towards your heels, and then bring your forehead down to your mat or to your block. If the lower back's feeling a little bit tingly, this is where we want to concentrate on. So you want to send the breath, start to breathe up and down your spine, using your exhales to try and soften or release any tension in the lower back. When you're ready to move on, come into tabletop position. Start to work into cat and cow. Shoulders directly above the hands, wrap your triceps back, and then start to inhale and arch your spine. And as you exhale, start to draw your belly button in and then round through your spine. Keep going at your own pace. Inhaling to arch the spine. Exhaling to round the spine. A couple more rounds. Go at your own pace and depth. Of course, if you feel like you need to move a little bit more intuitively, you might want to move a bit more freely by circling the shoulders around the hands. Maybe getting the hips involved and the side body involved. So moving a little bit more organically. Just for 3, 2, and 1. And then arch your spine. Curl your toes under. Try to keep the shape of the spine as best as you can as you lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Adjust your hands in your feet. If you're feeling tight in the hamstrings, bend your knees, lift your heels and turn your heels out slightly. Press down and forwards into your hands like you're stretching the top of your mat forwards. I want you to feel that length and extension down the sides of your body. Take your awareness to your breath. Keep that steady, diaphragmatic breathing. On your next inhale, take your right leg up into single-legged dog. Come up onto your left toes, and then step or hop your right foot through between your thumbs. If you need a deeper stretch, slide your left foot back. Try and keep the heel above your toe mound, and then lower down onto your left knee. Come up into your low lunge. We'll start off with a 90 lunge where you keep your knees kind of at 90 degrees. If you want a deeper stretch, start to shift your hips forwards and down and then lean back. So we don't want the weight at the top of the mat, we want the weight at the back of the mat. Maybe if you plant your hands and straighten your arms, it makes you lean back. On your next inhale, sweep the arms up above your head, moon pose. And as you exhale, bring your hands down to your mat or to your blocks. Lift your back knee. And then turn to the left, Prasarita Padottanasana. Walk your hands down to the center of your mat. And then check your toes out, or your feet. Make sure the duck feet, heels in, toes out. And then inhale, lift the chest, lengthen your spine. And on the exhale, forward fold. If the hamstrings are screaming, make sure that you've got a bend into the knees. Maybe your hands are on blocks. If you're feeling a little bit more open, turn your hands back and then walk them through. And then you can use friction. If you press your hands firmly into the mat and feel as if you're pulling the floor towards your face, this is going to deepen the stretch down the back line of your body, especially the legs and the hamstrings. And start to walk your hands back out in front of your shoulders, lift your chest. Turn to face the top of your mat. You might have to hop your feet around a little bit, so a bit more comfy. Then we're going to sweep the left leg up into half standing splits, but open your hips. So you bend your left knee.
Try to point your left knee up towards the sky, but keep your left heel close towards your right glute. Breathe into your belly. Either keep the chest up and the spine long, or bring your chin towards your knee or your shin. On your next inhale, it's going to be a half lift. So you lower your left foot, feet about hip width apart. Half lift, lift the chest, pull your belly in, slide your shoulders back. And on your next exhale, forward fold, maybe catch the elbows into ragdoll. We'll be in ragdoll for a few breaths. If you want a deeper stretch, try to lean forwards so that you have to grip the mat with the toes, so the tips of your toes go white. Also bring the chin towards your sternum to help lengthen the upper back. If you've got a hold of your elbows, let them go. And slowly start to curl up through your spine. Make sure you're drawing your lower belly in. Help protect the lower back. As you start to unravel, reach the arms up and above your head. Wrap your triceps in. Bring your palms together. And then come into Samasthiti with a straight line between the elbows and kind of firmly pressing the palms together. Excuse me. On your next inhale, reach the arms up. Maybe press your hips forwards, engage the glutes. And on the exhale, pull your hips back and forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Lengthen your spine. And then step your left foot to the back of your mat. Lower down onto your left knee. This is where you might need blocks. I'm going to demonstrate the position with blocks. We're going to do half Hanuman. So you slide your hips back until your left hip is directly above your left knee, and then start to straighten your right leg out down the centre of your mat. Adjusting the blocks accordingly if you're feeling tight. If you're feeling tight in the hamstring, make sure there's a micro bend into the knee and the spine is long. If you're not feeling so tight and you want to get deeper, maybe adjust the blocks or walk your hands further forwards and start to fold over the centre of your right leg, like you line the shin up with the centre of your chest. Pull back on your right hip a little, squeeze your left hip forwards, and then a flexion, a dorsiflexion into the foot to draw back on the toes. It's for 3, 2, and 1. When you're ready, lift your chest. We're going to rebend into the front knee. Make sure you pull your foot back about a foot's distance. And then rebend into the knee, so you're back into your low lunge. Plant your hands, lift your back knee up, step back into downward facing dog. Adjust your feet, adjust your hands. Try to find a straight line from your hips, through your shoulders, to your hands. Okay, let's do the left side. Take your left leg up. Bend your knee and open your hips. Lift your right heel up. Bring your left knee through towards your nose. Keep drawing your belly in, round your spine. Shift your shoulders above your hands. Step your foot through between your hands. Adjust your back foot if you need to. Lower down onto your right knee. And then come up into your low lunge. Starting off gentle, or as gentle as it can get, with the knees at 90 degrees. If you want to deepen the stretch, shift your hips forwards and down. Lift your chest up. Draw your shoulders back and down, and then lean back. And breathe into your belly for 3, 2, and 1. On your next inhale, Chandrasana, reach the arms up, wrap your triceps in and spread your fingers. And on your next exhale, bring your hands or your fingers down to your mat or to your blocks. Lift your back knee up, and then turn to the right, Prasarita Padottanasana. When you get there, check your feet out. Again, we want duck feet. That's the heels in and the toes out. It's just going to help protect the medial part of the knee. On your next inhale, lift your chest, lengthen your spine. And on your exhale, fold them down between the legs. For this round, either keep your hands where they are, or take your hands around the back, interlace your fingers. If you've got tight shoulders, you'll have to keep a gap between your palms like this. If you're feeling a little bit more open, let's come into Kali Mudra, which is a pistol grip with the hands. Bringing the chin towards the sternum, lean forwards, grip the mat with the tips of your toes, and then look up towards your bum. Breathe into your belly for 3, 2, And 1. Slowly, slowly start to make your way out of the pose. Plant your fingers below your shoulders, lift your chest, lengthen your spine. Turn to face the top of your mat. Again, you might have to hop your back foot forwards a little bit so it's a little bit more manageable. Half standing splits. Maybe you want to bring your hands onto blocks to make it a little bit easier, to bring the floor a little bit closer. And then open the hips. Bend your right knee. Try to pull your right hip back on your left hip. Maybe bring your chin towards your shin. On your next inhale, half lift. Smooth transition. Lower your right foot. As it lands, lift the chest. Draw the belly in. Slide your shoulders back. And then forward fold. Keep the knees bent. Draw the navel into your spine. Start to curl up. As you start to lift your head, circle the arms up and above your head. Wrap your triceps in, bring your palms together, bring the hands down, Samasthiti. Check in with your breath, keep it nice and calm. On your next inhale, circle the arms up above your head. And as you exhale, dive in. Inhale, half lift. Again, you might need your blocks. This time, step your right foot to the back of your mat. Lower down onto your right knee. Half Hanuman. Start to slide your hips back. Wait until your right hip is above your right knee. And then straighten your left leg out down the center of your mat. Inhale, lift the chest. Lengthen the spine. And on the exhale, if you're getting deeper, start to fold towards the center of your left leg. You might have to adjust your hands. Pull back on the left hip. Gently drive your right thigh forwards for 3. Pull back on the left toes. 2. And 1. And then lift your chest. Rebend into the front knee. First of all, I would pull the femur back into the hip socket and then rebend into the knee. Plant your hands and step back into downward facing dog. Okay, this time come forwards into high plank. Press into your toes, bring your shoulders past your wrists, as long as it's not painful. And we'll do Ashtanga Namaskar. So bring your knees down, slowly and with control. Uncurl your toes. And now arch your spine. Keep the spine arched. Try to bring your shoulders above your fingertips. And then keep looking forwards. Keep the spine arched. Bend the elbows so they brush the ribs. As you lower your chest and your chin, keep looking forwards. Try to keep your tailbone. Lower your hips. Lift the upper body. Lift the hands. Slide the shoulder blades down towards your hips. And press your feet into the mat. Breathe into your belly for 3. 2. And 1. Plant your hands. Slide them back below your elbows. Hug your forearms and your triceps in. Start to peel yourself up, lift your chest, lift your belly, maybe your hips lift a little. Let's just stay in this position just for a couple of breaths. Try to draw your shoulders back and then slide your shoulder blades down towards your hips. Feel your chest come through and up. Breathe into your belly for 3, for 2, and for 1. Curl your toes under. Use your core muscles to lift your hips up and pull them back to downward facing dog. When you get back to downward facing dog, soften your breath. Okay, on your next inhale, take your right leg up into single-legged dog. This time, bend your knee and open your hips. Lift your left heel up, bring it up above your toe mound. Look towards your thumbs, step, hop, or drag your right foot between your thumbs. The next one is crescent lunge. Come up onto your fingertips or your blocks. Make sure your back heel is above your toe mound and your front knee is above the ankle. Keep your legs nice and strong as you reach the arms up into crescent lunge. If you feel a little bit wobbly, engage more into your left glute and your left quad. On your next exhale, it's standing splits. Look where you're going. Reach your fingers towards the top corners of your mat or to your blocks. And sweep your left leg up, half standing splits. The next one is chair pose. Step your left foot next to your right foot. Bend your knees and sit back. Reach the arms forwards and up. Utkatasana. On your next exhale, forward fold. And on your next inhale this time, rise all the way up. Sweep the arms up and above your head. Maybe there's a little back bend at the top. And then exhale all the way back down, forward fold. It's going at your own pace. On your next inhale, half lift. And on the exhale, step your left foot to the back of your mat. Runner's lunge. Aswa Sanchalam. Single-legged dog with your right leg. Take it back. And then open your hips. Okay, a couple of options. You could either stay where you are, or if you want a little bit of a challenge, step back into Wild Thing, Kamakrasana. Either stay where you are, or come into a side plank, Vajrasthasana, ankles together. Try not to stick your bum out. In fact, squeeze your bum, flex your glutes, lengthen the tailbone down towards your heels, and try to hollow out this bottom body, hollow out the armpit, lift the ribs, lift the hips. Just for 3, 2, 1. Now let's all meet in high plank. Roll over your toes, plant your right hand. Bring your shoulders past your fingers, so press into your toes, and then lower down onto your belly. If you need to drop your knees, but make sure that the elbows are brushing your ribs either way, all the way down. Uncurl the toes. This time it's Bhujangasana, Cobra pose. Keep your hands on the floor, keep your elbows bent, lift your chest, and then roll the shoulders back and down. Feel your chest go forwards and up. So 3, 2, and 1. Tuck the toes, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Adjust your hands and your feet when you get there. Tune into your breath, start to regulate your breathing. Keep it steady, keep it full. Try and keep it calm and soft. Do that on the left side. Take your left leg up, single-legged dog. Open your hips. Lift your right heel up. Bring your knee through towards your nose. Step your foot between your thumbs. Adjust your back foot if you need to. Heel above the toe mound. Front knee above the ankle. Sweep the arms up above your head, going at your own pace. Crescent lunge. The next position is Urdhva Prasarita, Ekabadasana, or half standing splits. Reach your fingers towards the top corners of your mat or your blocks and float your right leg up into half standing splits. The next one is chair pose. As you inhale, step your right foot to the mat, bend the knees, sit back, reach the arms forwards and up. On your next exhale, forward fold. And on your next inhale, rise all the way up. Hasta Uttanasana, maybe there's a back bend at the top. And on your next exhale, all the way back down, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, lengthen your spine. Step your right foot to the back of your mat. Runner's lunge. Sweep your left leg back, single-legged dog. Open your hips. Either stay or step back into Wild Thing, Kamakrasana. Either stay where you are or come into a side plank, Vajrasthasana. A nice, active, strong side plank. Lift the hips, lift the ribs. Lengthen the tailbone down towards your heels for 3, 2, 1. Let's all meet in high plank. Roll over your toes, plant your left hand. Press into your toes, bring your shoulders above your fingers, as long as it's not painful, and then lower. Maybe this time you're ready for a chaturanga. Cobra or up dog. Downward facing dog. Okay, take a deep breath into the belly. Sigh it out the mouth. We'll just do one salutation. If you're going to jump, adjust your feet so it's a shorter downward dog and your feet are together. Lift your heels, bend your knees. If you're working on floating, the firmer you press your hands into the mat, the more air time you're going to get. So as you jump, press your hands firmly into the floor. When you're ready, meet me at the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, Hasta Uttanasana. Triceps in, palms together. Exhale into a calm Samastahiti. Regulate the breathing. I'll be quiet. Meet me back in downward facing dog. Stepping back or floating back. Just going through this vinyasa at your own pace. And when you get back to downward facing dog, bring your knees down. You can curl your toes, sit back onto the heels. Try to sit in Virasana, unless there's any pain in the knees. Then you might have to come into Balasana or Child's Pose. But as long as the knees and the hips and ankles will allow it, let's sit up. Try not to round your spine. We want to keep these natural curves of the spine, so there's a little bit of lordosis in the lower back, there's arch in the lower back. Slight tuck of the chin. And we'll just do 3 rounds of Samavriti, or equal breathing. We'll inhale for 5 and we'll exhale for 5. This is a great way to balance the autonomic nervous system. So when you're ready, start to inhale softly for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale softly for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale softly for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You do one more on your own. Inhale softly for 5. Slight pause at the top of your inhale. And a slow, soft exhale for 5. When you're ready, come and meet me back in downward facing dog. Okay, check your hands out and your feet out. Spread your fingers. Press down into the first 2 knuckles on both hands. Turn your triceps down and your biceps up. And then press down and forwards into your hands. So you get this length and extension down the side body. If you're feeling tight in the hamstrings, make sure that you lift your heels and then turn your heels out slightly so that they're hidden behind your ankles. On your next inhale, take your right leg up, single-legged dog. Bend your knee and open your hips. And step your right foot between your thumbs, or thereabouts. Then we're going to come into pyramid pose. So if you can't bring your back heel flat, like this, make sure you hop your back foot in. We want a straight line from heel to heel, and you turn your back foot out 45 degrees. If you're feeling tight in the hamstrings, make sure you've got your hands on blocks and you keep your spine long or your chest up. Maybe a bend into the knee as well, don't forget about that. If you're not feeling so tight, start to straighten out your right leg. Pull your right hip back, left hip forwards. Take a deep breath in, lengthen the spine. And then start to fold over towards the center of your right leg. You could stay, or if you want to add a twist into the pose, bring your left hand below your left shoulder or onto a block, and then reach your right arm up. Pull back on the right hip, draw the lower belly in, lift the bottom ribs up, and press firmly into your left hand. Use that to help draw your right shoulder back a little bit more, just for 3, 2, and 1. Bring your right hand down. Rebend into your front knee. Half standing splits, float your left leg up. Either stay, or we can come into revolved half moon. Sorry, let's do regular half moon first. getting ahead of myself. If you're going for half moon, start to stack your left hip on your right hip and turn your left foot out. If you're feeling steady, add in the left arm, reach it up towards the sky. Looking down will help your balance. Looking up is going to challenge your balance. Just for 3, 2, and 1. Back into half standing splits as you lower your left hand, lower your left hip, square it off with your right hip. Now let's do the revolved version, add in the right arm. This is a little bit easier on blocks if you've got blocks handy. And then step your left toes to the back of your mat. Stay in revolved side stretch, so you might have to slide your left hand back so it stays below the shoulder. And then when you're ready, as if you're going to go to Prasarita, start to turn to the left, turn your toes in and your heels out. We're going to do Skandasana to the back of the mat. If you're not used to doing it, grab a hold of a block. You bend your left knee, start to straighten your right leg out. Turn your right foot up. If it's a little bit tight on the ankles, slide a block underneath your left heel and bring your hips as low as they'll go. You might have to keep your hands down to keep your balance. You might be able to bring your palms together. You might want to open out your arms and lean back. If the ankle will allow it, don't use a block. Make sure your right foot is active. We're going to do this position, but the opposite end of the mat. If you're feeling tight in the ankles, make sure you take your block with you. Slide your block underneath your right heel. Straighten out your left leg. Make sure you're flexing into the foot. Either hands down or on blocks to help with your balance, or bring your palms together, or bring your right tricep to your right shin, your left arm above your head, and then lean back. So 3, 2, and 1. Start to turn to face the top of your mat. Plant your fingers. Lift your hips. Face the top of your mat. Runner's lunge. Lower down onto your left knee. And then slide your hips back for half Hanuman. Left hip above your left knee. Straighten the right leg out down the center of your mat. Either stay in Ardha Hanumanasana, half Hanuman, half splits, or start to make your way towards the splits by sliding your left foot back, not your right foot. If you're feeling a little bit tight like me, make sure that you're using props like cushions and blocks and take that tension out of the hamstring so that your body feels safe, and then you can gently sink a little bit deeper into the pose. Don't force yourself into this because it's a great way to snap your hamstrings. So listen to your body. Be a little bit humble in your stretches. Yeah, don't force it. Let it come naturally. If you start to open up, you can start to take away some of the blocks or whatever you're using. But yeah, again, don't rush into it. Just nice and easy. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. If you're in the splits, make your way out. Easier said than done. Curl your toes under on your back foot. And now pull your right foot back towards your hips. Oh, yeah. Rebend into your front knee. Just give it a little second. You might want to bring your hands onto blocks. Let some feeling come back through into the legs. And when you're ready, step back, high plank. Press into your toes. Bring your shoulders as far forward as you feel comfortable with. And I'll just say lower. Either drop your knees or chaturanga. Cobra or up dog, downward facing dog. Okay, take your left leg up, single-legged dog, bend your knee and open your hips. Step your left foot towards the top of your mat. Squeeze your right heel down. Don't forget, if your foot, this is important, if your foot doesn't go flat, you must hop your foot in until you can't bring it flat. Yeah, it's not good enough with the heel up. You want the foot flat, so you might have to bend the front leg, the front knee. Hands on blocks if you can't easily touch the floor. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Don't forget, turn your back foot out 45 degrees. If you're getting deeper, start to fold over towards the center of your left leg. One straight line between the heels, unless you're feeling a little bit tight in the outer hips, and you take your feet a little bit wider. If you're added in the revolved version or the twisted version, bring your right hand below your right shoulder so that your fingers and toes are in a straight line or onto a block, and start to add in the left arm. Keep the hips nice and level, pull back on the left hip, forwards on the outer right hip. Breathe for 3, 2, and 1. Bring your left hand down, rebend into your front knee, half standing splits. Again, if you can't easily touch the floor, make sure that you've got your hands on blocks and that the hands are slightly in front of your shoulders. Either stay or add in half moon when you start to stack your right hip on your left hip. So your foot would be facing down, turn it out, maybe add in the right arm. Just for like 3, 2, and 1. Now we're going to do the revolve version, but we stop off at half standing splits. Bring your right hand down, lower your right hip, square it off with your left hip, and then add in the left arm. Try to extend in all directions, out the head, out of both feet, out of both hands, for 3, for 2, for 1. Next one is revolve side stretch. Keep the arms open, step your right toes to the back of your mat. Adjust your right hand, slide it back below your shoulder, look up towards your left thumb with your right eye. Turn to the right, Prasarita, Padottanasana, but we're not going to stay. We're going to do Skandasana to the back of your mat. Again, if you're feeling tight in the ankles or the hips, take a block with you. Start to bend your right knee, straighten out your left leg, turn your left toes up. Palms together or down if you need them for your balance. Or we can add a bind. When you bring your right tricep to your right shin, take the back of your right hand to your lower back, and then reach around the back with your left hand. Clasp the hands, slide the shoulder blades down your back, puff the chest up for 3, 2, and 1. Same position, opposite end of the mat. Bend your left knee, straighten out your right leg, take your block with you underneath your left heel if you need it. Find somewhere for the hands, or bind. Keep the chest up, shoulders sliding down towards your back, towards your hips, for 3, 2, and 1. Start to turn to face the top of your mat, plant your fingers, runner's lunge. Lower down onto your right knee, and then start to slide your hips back for half Hanuman. Or if you're working on your splits, start to slide your right foot back for Hanuman. Again, using cushions, pillows and blocks if you're feeling tight in the hamstrings. Try to relax the shoulders down. Still thinking about keeping your hips square. If you're in the splits, driving your right hip forwards, drawing back on your left hip. It's for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Start to make your way out. Curl your toes under on the back foot. Pull the left foot back towards your hips. Rebend into your front knee. Just let some juice come through. And then when you're ready, step back into high plank. Press into your toes, bring your shoulders as far forwards as you feel comfortable with, and then lower. Go through your vinyasa at your own pace. Okay, well done everyone. Let's get off the hands. When you're ready, we want to sit down with the legs out in front. So when you're ready, step or hop through. Lie down onto your back, bend your knees, walk your feet in. Okay, little internal twist. Cross your left leg over your right leg. Gently press or open into that left hip, gently press your left knee away. And then with your arms out, bend the elbows, cactus arms. Start to heel toe your right foot off your mat onto the wood. And then lower your knees over to the left. Gaze over to your right. The more that you can relax and surrender into the pose, the deeper you're going to get. And then come back to the centre. Bring your right foot back onto your mat. Uncross your legs. Cross your right leg over. Gently press away at the knee or the thigh. Cactus arms. Heel toe your left foot off your mat onto the wood. And then slowly lower your knees over to the right. Gaze over to your left. And then come back to the centre. Uncross your legs. Kick the legs straight up. Okay, Garmakasana, cross your right knee over your left knee. And then bend your knees. Try to keep your knees stacked. If your arms are long enough, grab the bottom of your feet. If they're not, you might have to grab your shins. Now we want the knees together and try and get a straight line between the shins. Press your lower back into the mat and then gently start to kick your feet into your hands and gently pull on your feet at the same time. There might be a little bit of shaking, feeling an engagement and a stretch in the hips and in the thighs for 3, 2, and 1. Uncross the legs, extend your legs straight back up. This time cross your left knee over your right knee, bend your knees, try to keep your knees stacked. Hook your fingers on the little toe sides of your feet or grab your shin bones and start to try and get a straight line between the shins. Press your lower back into the mat, kick into your hands, gently pull on the feet at the same time. Flex into the feet for 3, 2, and 1. Then uncross your legs, hug your knees in. Lower your knees to the left. Open your arms, twist your spine to the right. Try to relax the spine, try to relax your belly, relax your forehead. Bring your knees back to the centre, hug them in. And take your knees over to the right. Open the arms, twist your spine to the left. Look across over to your left. When you finish with your twists, come back to the centre, grab a hold of your knees or your shins and start to make big circles in one direction with your knees. Then in the other direction. And then curl into a ball, lift your forehead up towards your knees first, and then draw your knees in towards your forehead. When you're ready to relax, rest your head, drop your feet. Slide your heels to the bottom corners of your mat. Bring the arms down by your sides, palms facing up. Okay, if you've got the time, if you can, try and spend a couple of minutes just allowing your body to soften and relax and to soak up the last 45, 50 minutes or so. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Have a lovely day. Lokar, Samastar, Sukhi Bhavantu. May everybody be happy and free. Namaste.